Hi, my name is Ivy Frame, and I will be teaching with cognitive strategies. Cognitive strategies is an instructional approach which emphasizes the development of thinking skills and processes as a means to enhance learning. There are many forms of cognitive strategies that are used in the classroom that help students learn. Such forms are concept maps, visuals, memorization, and this is an acronym, or underlining words and finding context clues. So for this one, it says the teacher demonstrated the science experiment. The child underlined the word demonstration and has to know that demonstration means show in order to understand the sentence. For acronyms, everyone should basically know this one. It's called PEMDAS. It helps people solve math equations. So this one's very helpful so they can memorize all these words that go in each step. Visualizations, it's very helpful for ELLs because it can help them visualize whatever object or topic you're learning in class. For instance, this is a flower or a plant. They have to identify each part so they understand what a plant is made of and how they work. Concept maps, there are many different forms. For instance, this one's images, also very helpful for ELLs, and has arrows to each picture to show them what order they go into. As well as this one is just no images, just circles, and they also lead into more circles that just kind of explain the details of each one. Cognitive strategy instruction is one of the most effective ways of improving academic performance for students with learning difficulties. This is why I think cognitive instruction is a great help to ELLs. It provides more of a visual for students who may not understand the lesson or material. One form of cognitive strategies I will be using is the concept map. Concept maps are graphical tools for organizing and representing knowledge. As you can see, there are different forms of concept maps, as I just showed you, that can conform to whatever lesson the class is learning. The topic I chose is plant life. Personally, before I start teaching my lesson, I like to start off by reading a book that introduces what we will be discussing in class. This way the students understand the importance of books and how books are well-known resources that feed us the information we need. This can also encourage them to read more. This book has lots of topics about plants that can be used in any concept map. I simply chose the plant life cycle, so I would ask the students first what they know about plants and flowers and how they live. As I start reading through the parts of the book, I point out pictures and explain what they are. So for instance, this is all about plants, different types of plants, flowers, even insects. So we'll start with the beginning of the book. This page is about what is a plant. It comes with a whole bunch of pictures of all different varieties of plants and what they look like and what their ecosystems are. So I would talk to the kids, explain to which one they are, ask them what they think of them, what they look like, if they look cool, if they look silly. And then we'd move on to parts of a plant. I would ask students if any of these pictures looked familiar, if any of them looked like roots or stems, or even if they knew what they did. So I'd point out the roots, the stems, the seeds, the leaves, and the blooms of the flowers. And so we just discuss all the different parts of the plants and why they're essential for a plant to live. We move on to how a plant is born. So for instance, it talks about how a seed first starts off in the plant life, and then once it gets wet in the soil, the seed softens and it begins to sprout little roots. As it continues to grow, it gets more and more roots and eventually gets bigger and longer. Then it starts to sprout a stem and goes up towards the sun, and the sun gives it its food. As it gets bigger, it starts to plant leaves, and then eventually it will sprout into a bloom. So this shows the flower life, how a bloom begins small and together, and then slowly opens into a beautiful big red bloom. And then eventually how it dissipates and dies and starts over and forms a seed to grow all over again. If you see right at the top of this one, it has its own concept map of its own. So it starts with the seasons, starts over here with winter, with the seeds, and then in the spring, the seed germinates, and then as it goes to summer, the plant grows rapidly and growing only shallow roots. During the summer, the flowers open and are pollinated by insects. And then goes to autumn, the plant dies and the wind scatters its seeds and starts over in winter. So that was a great idea of a concept map. After we read the book and identify essential points of the plant life, we'll learn how to use a concept map. An example will be the one I have on the board. So like we just talked about, a plant would start out with a seed, which is compact with a protective covering. It would germinate once the water is in the soil, which makes the seed sprout. And then it moves on to forming roots and stems. The roots grow deep and the stem pushes through the soil. Moves on to seedlings, which grows leaves and grows towards the sun. As I said before, the sun helps it produce food. And then it goes from a seedling to pollination, where the flower blooms. It's in full growth with flowers and pollinated by animals or wind. And then as it dies, it would wither away and the seed would be left behind to start a whole new plant life. Afterwards, I'd show the students different types of concept maps and let them choose which they'd like to use. I'd give them class time to create their own, and then they can reflect and share with their friends as needed. Now, depending on the teacher, personally I would like to do this at the end, just kind of summarizing what we learned. This is also very helpful for ELLs. Right here, it goes 1 through 6 with different pictures of how plants grow with water, sunlight, soil, seeds, stems, roots, all of it. And the children would have to cut and paste, which also helps with their fine motor skills, and place in the correct order of how a plant lives. But that is all. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope this was helpful to you. Bye.